February 9th is slated to be the date the impeachment trial of Donald Trump will start. If 17 out of 50 Republicans join the 50 Democrats, he will be convicted and afterwards almost certainly be barred from ever running from any public office by way of a second vote. Though some make the argument that keeping Trump as a viable political threat is actually better for Democrats, I would much prefer that he be barred from any kind of return because frankly I think this guy is a threat to our democracy. At the same time, based on his chart cycles, it's not going to matter much whether he's convicted or not because the planetary pressure is so intense over the next few years, the Orange Menace is going to be in trouble either way. Still, what does the February 9th date tell us about conviction chances? The moon in the 25th degree range of Capricorn is very unfavorable for Trump since it opposes his Saturn-Venus 12th house conjunction and triggers the transit in Pluto in those degrees, but it becomes important that the process be started on or before noon Washington time, because after that the moon goes void of course, and that is usually best avoided if hoping for a conviction. However, this one will have to remain a mystery for now because one of the factors in a void moon is unpredictability. So if at the time of the start of the trial we learn that Republicans are leaning toward acquittal, then a void moon start to proceedings could actually be worse for Trump since it could mean they would change their mind. Venus in the 10-degree Aquarius range opposes his natal Pluto, signaling the threat to his career because Venus rules Trump's 10th. Transiting Sun and Mercury are more Trump favorable in the early days of the trial, but turn disharmonious as the days pass. Saturn and Uranus are both in semi-square, sesqui-square to his Sun and Moon, which is very irritating and unfavorable, and this continues well into March. Notice that Mercury is retrograde in degrees that are also trine his Gemini planets and sextile the Moon. But this planet is sending a potentially very ominous signal should it turn out that the trial concludes around when it goes direct, because that would put it directly opposite Trump's Pluto, and that is very unlikely to give him a good result. If matters conclude around that date, when Mercury goes direct, Mars is near his midheaven, which I would also interpret as another negative. The longer the trial goes, the more Jupiter approaches the trine to itself, which at least on paper should be favorable for Trump. However, the passage of time also brings the exact square to the Moon by Neptune into play, and that one is very unfavorable. The overall balance of planetary transits is not favorable for Trump in the month of February, and it certainly wouldn't be remotely my choice to be on trial with the kinds of transits that he is under, but it's hard to say how McConnell and the Republicans will play this one because after creating a monster, they now have millions of voters who idolize Trump, and taking him down, while best for the country and even most sensible for the Republican Party in the long term, may not suit their shorter term interests. As I said earlier, let's hope for a conviction, but if we don't get it, no need to sweat. This guy is still cooked. His collapse will just happen in other ways. Having said that, I do believe that if it starts to look like the decision will be rendered around the point where Mercury goes direct, there is an excellent chance he's going down.